Welcome back, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the break. I've just been over to the exhibition center, and if you haven't been there yet, I truly urge you to go. It's an absolutely magnificent souk-like experience in a beautiful tent. It also happens to have the best coffee at the entire venue, so definitely recommend checking out those stands, which have a wealth of interesting exhibitions. So we now move on to panel 5, and it ties together implementation support and the absolutely crucial topic of regional integration. And as you well know, regional mechanisms from accident investigation to safety oversight have become essential pillars of the aviation system across the world, not least because they create economies of scale that many individual states could not achieve on their own. At the same time, these organizations are under pressure. Today's discussion brings together key actors from Africa, the Middle East, Europe, to Central Asia and North America to explore how ICAO's tools and support can be better aligned with regional needs, how duplication can be avoided, how coordination can be strengthened, and regional bodies empowered to deliver lasting impact. It is now my great pleasure to hand over to the panel moderator, Mr. Mohamed Khalifa Rama. He is director of the Air Transport Bureau at ICAO. He also serves as secretary of the ICAO Air Transport Committee, Climate and Environment Committee, and Council Aviation Recovery Task Force. And prior to ICAO, he was Undersecretary of International and Internal Affairs at Egypt's Ministry of Civil Aviation. So dear Mohamed, take it away. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Linda. I've just learned that Linda has an element of Arabic background. She lived in Egypt for a number of years, so she belongs to this region somehow. That's right. So, good morning, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, ministers, director generals, distinguished members of ICAO Council present here, friends and colleagues. First of all, let me take a moment to appreciate the Kingdom of Morocco for putting together a very successful GISS 2026. And thank them for the hospitality, the warm welcome, and the gracious treatment we have been dealt with today and the previous days. And last night was indeed like an Arabian night, a real Arabian night. So thank you, and a round of applause for our host state. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this session under the title Leveraging ICAO Provisions and Implementation Support to Strengthen Regional Mechanism. Across all regions, regional mechanisms such as Regional Aviation Safety Oversight Organizations, RSO, and Regional Accident Investigation Organizations, RIO, have become essential tools for supporting states in the effective implementation of ICAO standards. They help pool expertise, promote harmonization, and address capacity gaps within the regions. The effectiveness of such mechanism depends on various parameters, including clear mandates, strong governance, trust among member states, sustainable financing, and alignment with national priorities. Differences in state maturity, legal framework, and institutional capacity can further complicate coordination and implementation. We see in some cases, limited coordination or duplication of efforts can dilute and strain already scarce resources. This is where ICAO guidance, material, tools, and implementation support become particularly relevant to enable these mechanisms to reach their full potential. ICAO is uniquely positioned to support regional mechanisms by providing guidance material and essential program of RSO and RIOs, thus promoting common framework, facilitating coordination and cooperation, and tailoring implementation support to regional realities, while ensuring alignment with ICAO global standards and avoiding fragmentation. In this session, our discussion will be focused on how ICAO guidance material and implementation support tools can leverage those organizations. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to be joined by distinguished panelists bringing perspectives from various ICAO regions. In the next 70 minutes, we'll be having focused discussion on these organizations. I will start first by Her Excellency Ms. Sultanat Tempieva, the Chair of the Civil Aviation Committee, Ministry of Transport, Republic of Kazakhstan. Our next speaker is Dr. Ayeye Garang Ding Ayeye, Chairman of Eastern African Community, Civil Aviation Safety and Security Oversight Agency, and the Director General of South Sudan. Our next speaker is Mr. David Lloyd, International Relations Advisor from Eurocontrol, and a former member of ICAO Council representing the UK. And then my two friends and colleagues, Mrs. Lucy Mbugua, the ICAO Regional Director for ISAF region, and Mr. Christopher Park, the ICAO NAC Regional Director. Thank you all. My mic, please. Thank you all. Mic. I can use the portable mic. So my first question will go to Lucy, the Regional Director of ISAF Office. And Lucy, if you can please explain to us what regional mechanisms in Eastern Africa, and how can you elaborate to us the purpose and the mandates and the membership and also the governing structure of these entities? Over to you, Lucy.
Thank you, Mohammed. Can you hear me? Thank you for having me in this panel, and I also want to join you in thanking the Kingdom of Morocco for the spectacular dinner last night. We did enjoy ourselves. So onto that question, I want to repeat what has been said, that the regional mechanisms are an essential tool in assisting states. And when I speak to the AFI region, the mechanisms in general provide safety, security, and accident investigation support. And they include 6 RSOs and 1 regional accident investigation. So if I can name them very quickly, in Eastern Africa, we have CASOA, which is from the East African Community. We also have SASO, which is from the SADC countries. And then we have BAGASU, the Banjul Accord Group, EMAC, the ASECNA member states, focusing on air navigation, and ASA-AC, which is the CEMAC states, USAC, West African states, and Bagaya, which is the only regional accident investigation institution. Now, if I may come back and focus on the ISAF region, we have CASOA. And CASOA was established by the East African Community member states in meeting their safety and security obligations under the Chicago Convention. Membership is from the 8 East African Community countries, and the board is the highest organ governing the organization. And the board is made up of the 8 DGs from the 8 East African states. CASOA, since its establishment in 2007, has evolved to be one of the strongest RSOs in the region, actually, if not in the world. And how have they done this? How did they get there? I think the first thing I can say is that there's been a tremendous commitment from the member states, which is seen through the regular engagement with the CASOA. And CASOA has also leveraged a lot on ICAO support in strengthening the institution capacity through the assessment program that ICAO has, which is the RRAP, and through also engaging in joint activities with the regional office in assisting member states. Now, the ISAF office also leverages on the board meetings where we attend regularly, I attend regularly, to give strategic and policy guidance. And we've seen that this has really helped CASOA in improving on its strategy and delivering to member states. So what has been the impact of CASOA so far to the member states? I think we have seen improvement by the East African Community member states in their audits, and we can attribute this partly to CASOA assisting them. The member states have also now recognized the value of CASOA, and you can see this because they are constantly requesting for technical assistance. They wouldn't do this if they didn't see value in CASOA, and this has actually given CASOA more confidence. And then we've seen the RSO has really increased its activities in the regional capacity building initiatives. And you can see that then it has taken its place in the region as a support, as a tool for assisting the states. So when it comes to SASO, which is for the SADC countries in Southern Africa, they're following in the same footsteps as CASOA. They were just established in 2015, and they attained the full RSO status only 2 years ago in 2024. And the SADC member states are committed to the RSO, as we have seen. And SASO also engages a lot with the regional office, just like in the case of CASOA, in capacity building and technical support. And we also give them policy and strategic guidance in order to strengthen them. And the regional office has also facilitated collaboration between the two RSOs. CASOA, being the older one, has been assisting SASO in making the steps to a strong RSO. Now, on the question that keeps coming up of duplication, that are they doing the same thing that the ICAO regional offices are doing? I would say that we have a coordination forum yearly with the RSOs, and both ISAF and WACAF states are involved, where we align our annual assistance program to make sure that there's no duplication, that we don't have 8 missions to one state while other states are missing. And this helps us better utilize our resources. The roles are also very well defined between the ISAF office, the ICAO offices, and the RSOs, where we provide the guidance and we give them the tools, and then the RSOs go on ground to support states on implementation.
Thank you very much, Lucy.
Yes.
Thank you. So it seems that Africa believes so much in these mechanisms. So we have 6 RSOs and 1 RIO. This means that Africa really engaged with the system. They have tried it, and the coordination with the regional offices is really an essential part of that. Now moving to the other region, which is the NAC region. And Chris, if you can shed some lights on the regional mechanism there, and also kind of the structure, the governments of these mechanisms.
Sure. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. And I'd also like to add my voice to the gratitude to the Kingdom of Morocco for this entire event and for the wonderful evening last night. So similarly to Africa, we have several regional organizations that operate in the Americas. So in the Americas, we have 2 regional offices, one for South America in Lima, and then the one that I am directing in Mexico, which covers North America, Central America, and the Caribbean. And we have several regional safety oversight organizations. I think we should call them regional safety and security oversight organizations, Mohammed, and a multinational authority as well. So I'll run through them really quickly. So one of the oldest is the Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority, which is the civil aviation authority for 6 English-speaking Caribbean islands. And that authority was established many decades ago and has evolved over time, but it does carry out most of the safety oversight functions for those 6 islands. And then ECCAA, or ECA, in turn, is a member of a broader Caribbean safety and security oversight organization called CASOS. not to be confused with CASOA, and that's the Caribbean Aviation Safety and Security Oversight System. And the members of CASOS are mainly the members of CARICOM. And I think this is an important point to mention. CARICOM is an economic and political integration organization for the Caribbean, which includes mainly the Anglophone states of the Caribbean plus Haiti. And CASOS is an agency of CARICOM, and that becomes important for a couple of reasons. I think, we've talked about how RSOOs can provide mutual support and assistance to the states that are members. But the vision of an RSOO can be so much more. One element that I think is really important that many RSOOs have engaged in is regulatory harmonization. So having a body of regulations, a common regulatory framework, is not only helpful for the member states in terms of the efficiencies that they gain from updating and maintaining updated regulations as ICAO continues to produce standards and recommended practices, but also those RSOOs, especially if they're members of a higher level economic integration system, if you will, which is usually underpinned by a system of treaties, is the possibility, it doesn't exist everywhere, but the possibility of adopting regulations at that level so that every member continues to be implementing the latest version of those harmonized regulations. You see this in the European Union's European Aviation Safety Agency, EASA, which was mentioned in the previous panel. And that's probably where you see that regulatory element the strongest. And then to go even beyond that is the mutual recognition or reciprocal acceptance of certifications and approvals. And that is something that helps both the states and the industry, because at the end of the day, what the industry is looking for is regulatory efficiency, whether it's airlines or manufacturers or maintenance organizations. They need that ability to be able to, especially for, let's say, multinational airlines, for example, or manufacturers that have manufacturing in multiple states, they need that ability to easily transfer aircraft across registries, to issue approvals like MMELs and, to issue documents that are approved by one state, but they operate in multiple states under multiple air operator certificates. They need a more efficient regulatory system. So an RSOO, especially one that is part of a broader legal framework, has the ability to do that. Then you have in Central America an organization that is going to celebrate its 70th anniversary soon, and that's the COSESNA. And that encompasses 6 states of Central America. I see my friend, the council member of Belize, Her Excellency Kennedy Carrillo here, who's a member of that organization, and 5 other states of Central America. And within COSESNA, which was really originally established around airspace, like SECNA in Africa, it also has an RSOO under it called AXA. And that has existed for over 20 years and is based in Costa Rica. And they have a regulatory harmonization effort that is quite advanced. They also provide mutual assistance among each other, but they're still looking for that additional step of how can we achieve approvals and certifications that are accepted across multiple states. Then we have in South America the SRV-SOP, which is a different model. And that is actually managed by the regional office in Lima. And the governance structure is the directors general of the different authorities that belong to SRV-SOP. And there is one state in the NAC region that is also a member of that organization, and that is Cuba. So those are the RSOOs. We do have a RIO in Central America as well that comes under this COSESNA umbrella, and that is based in Nicaragua, and they're really getting up and running, I would say. So we have the one RIO, we have the 3 RSOOs, and we have the multinational aviation
also multiple
authority.
organizations, and you said, Chris, that they benefit a lot the RSOs and this regional organization if they belong to a harmonized framework, a bigger harmonized framework, especially on the economic side, which is a valid analogy. So moving now to Europe, and David, Eurocontrol has 42 member states. Of
영건님,
course, not of them
그
at
혹시
the same
월간
maturity
소비자
level. So how
리포트에서
can
그
Eurocontrol serve
뒤에
those 42 member
수수료,
states,
항공사
especially
수수료
when they have
위약금
different
부분,
maturity level? Go
이거
ahead, please.
Certainly, thank
뭐지?
you. And firstly, may I
업데이트
join the
마지막으로
others
한
in
게
expressing my sincere thanks
언제예요?
to the Kingdom of
혹시
Morocco
몇
for
월이에요?
hosting this event, and particularly for the
그러면 이게
spectacular
그
events of yesterday evening.
다 직접 보시고 한 거예요?
Yes, for those of you
아,
who do
홈페이지
not
가서?
understand or do not know rather about Eurocontrol, as you say, it is an international civil military organization founded in 1963 by a convention with 42 member states and 2 comprehensive agreement states, including our generous host, the Kingdom of Morocco, as well. And
왜냐면
how we function is we provide support across the whole value chain on operational
그
and non-operational
서비스
aspects.
보고서에 있는 항목이랑 지금 이 월간 리포트 항목이랑은 동일한데 대한항공에서 뭐 표 양식을 좀 수정해달라고 왔는데 아니요, 그 저희 보고서 전체 보고서, 최종 보고서. 별말 없었으면 굳이 수정을 해야 될까 싶어가지고.
As I note, we work all the way through from needs analysis to assist with policy development through
이거 이용
support
요금.
in implementation itself.
이거 지금 동일하거든요.
Continuous
아,
improvement.
수수료 약간?
이걸 갖다가
아, 이거는 제가 안 건드렸어요. 이전하고 똑같아요.
근데 여기서 이제 4월 달에 기본 환불과 당장은 서비스 수수료야겠다.
How we do this is through several levels. We have an
이렇게
aviation
이메일 왔어.
learning center in Luxembourg, which some of you may have seen is the focus of our stand in the exhibition hall. And that provides dedicated training of various types, online, in person, learning modules focused on various aspects of the air navigation system. Some of you may be familiar with our training programs, FEAST, which is the selection test for air traffic controllers, and also LPAC, which is the language proficiency test. This is something that all our states and indeed non-member states can take advantage of. But regarding specific support programs, we also have a system called the Support to States program,
33페이지네.
which is focused on capacity building in individual states who have particular needs. It's based on agreements that are developed between Eurocontrol and individual states, and we have about 30 of those in place at the moment. And what it was, it's a specific program developed on various
아, 이게 환불 위약금 이렇게 해달라고?
cybersecurity, CNS, airport management.
옆으로?
We will develop a system, program for tailored program for these states to help them improve in certain areas, to help them develop their capacity. And we do this through, as I say,
이해했다. 그러니까 이거를 여기로 시켜고 얘를 이렇게 이거 여기로 빼달라는 얘기 같은데.
comments with the states so they can see and learn from others, and all of this.
이 두 개가 환불 위약금인 거잖아요. 해쳐서도 여기도 부분을
that drives our whole structure, that drives our whole engagement, with the aim of improving the EI scores and making sure that the region is operating as effectively as possible.
변경은 근데 또
Thank you,
환불
David. I
위약금이라고
think
하면
one
그렇지 않아요?
important factor,
변경
despite you have a
수수료인데?
bigger number of
변경에
states,
대한
you still manage to do like tailored programs for governance.
얘만 여기로 들어가야지 맞는 것
This is
같은데.
something that really benefits states because there was no one size that can fit all. So tailored programs really can benefit member states at a greater level. Now moving again to the
아니면
African region.
요거를 빼버리고 서비스 수수료를 빼버리고
그냥 귀찮으니까.
그냥 이렇게
Sometimes we're faced with some political sensitivities, political issues, and also delay in harmonization of regulations. So how can a regional organization
변경
like
그러면은
address those issues?
변경 위약금이라고 해야
Especially
되나?
nowadays,
변경도 그냥 이렇게
geopolitical situation sometimes is not what we
헷갈리잖아요,
want to see.
변경
But
받으면.
again, this is a challenge for the regional organization. So how you address these challenges?
Correct. Let me just pass my gratitude first, Mohammed, to the Kingdom of Morocco for the host. And
변경.
I think from our regional perspective, EAC Kasoa has been progressing for the last few years in terms of harmonization of the aviation regulation. And one of the mandate is to harmonize the aviation regulation and make sure all the member states comply with the international standard and recommended practice. However, this harmonization has not always been easy because we have 8 member states have different legal system and different priorities and regulatory timeline. And it caused a delay quite a bit. So the way the leadership approach addressed this is to have a continual dialogue and cooperation among the state and build that trust between the state and the leadership. And then we move phases by phases. We don't force the state to submit the requirement of the KASUA leadership, but we make sure that their leadership provide that guidance to the member state. So, but we have some examples of the country that are very fast through the adaptation of the ICAO standard. For example, the country like Kenya and Rwanda, they really fast in the adaptation of any regulation that is need to be passed. But overall, our 8 member states, they're working on the amendment of the regulation now, including the last that was signed was South Sudan, signed the regulation and they put it into law, and it met the regional requirement. So our focus as the regional is to make sure that we work together as a region. We build trust and we move gradually. Yeah. And I think we are progressing in that. And we coordinate with our regional office, and Lucy, she's here. Yeah. The countries like DRC, South Sudan, and Burundi, they are coming very fast to implement this harmonization. So thank you, Mohamed.
Thank you very much, Dr. A. I think, yes, it's essential to build the trust between the regional organizations and the states. And it's not an easy journey. It's a continuous journey. It's not a one-time off exercise. You need to keep building this trust in order to ensure that the states have the buy-in at the political level to be engaged with these organizations. Now I'm moving to Central Asia, Her Excellency, the chair of the Civil Aviation Committee. And my question to her is, how do you ensure that regional mechanisms add value rather than increasing complexity or bureaucracy?
Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to emphasize that Kazakhstan reaffirms the continued support for the important work with the International Civil Aviation Organization and expresses our gratitude to the Ministry of Transport of Morocco for the hosting this significant event, GISS 2026. Thank you very much for your question, dear Mr. Rahma. From Kazakhstan perspectives, ensuring that regional mechanisms add real value comes down to several practical principles. First, most important aspect is responsiveness and expertise sharing opportunities. They must be demand-driven. Regional cooperation only works when it responds to what states
따로
actually
드릴까요?
need,
아니면 합쳐서
whether
드릴까요?
that regulatory alignment,
그 연구원님이 예전에
oversight
보내신
gaps,
그
or audit
그
preparation.
버전에다 업데이트하면 돼요?
Second, prioritize operational delivery over governance complexity. Too many
잠시만요. 제가
layers
그거 못
of
봤는데.
committees, reporting lines, and approvals slow everything down. Instead, regional mechanism should operate more like a technical service platform with small expert teams that can be deployed quickly when needed. Third, we value flexible project-based cooperation, targeting technical missions, expert exchanges, and joint audit preparation, such as our work with Armenia, Mongolia, and Tajikistan have delivered fast, tangible results by providing external perspectives, sharing good practices, and accelerating learning. And finally, the speed of support is critical. One of the main advantages of regional mechanisms cooperation is the ability to
어머님
mobilize
의견 하신
proven
거 있는데
solutions
상관없어요?
quickly
그냥
instead of each state reinventing them alone.
뒤에만
For example, our cooperation with IASA, strengthening us oversight by leveraging an established regulatory system rather than building everything from scratch.
뭐 그럼
When
초록색으로
regional
칠할까요?
mechanisms
초록색으로
are
칠할까요?
responsive, result-oriented, and focused on pooling expertise, they reduce duplications, avoid unnecessary bureaucracy, and directly strengthening safety oversight performance. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's actually, you touched upon an important point, which is the flexibility and the agility of support to the member states when it comes to using of regional mechanism, and also build on other expertise and not to invent the wheel and maybe build on what has been done in other regions. So I think we're going to a second round of questions, and then after that, we will give a chance to the audience to ask questions to the panelists. Quickly, I will go to maybe my colleagues from ICAO, Lucy and Christopher, to ask about how safety and security oversight coordinated under regional mechanism, how it's better coordinated in these two domains, given the different maturity levels at your region, especially when you have developing states and also sometimes underprivileged states that they are starting to build their own civil aviation system, especially landlocked or small islands in your case in the RAC region. So Lucy, if you can give us a quick answer and then we move to Christopher.
Okay, thank you, Mohammed, for that question. Now, yes, states do have different maturity levels, and in the AFRI region, the safety and security oversight is coordinated through a harmonized, ICAO-led regional approach that ensures all states, regardless of the maturity level, receive consistent, complementary, and non-duplicative support, and also in line with the No Country Left Behind. So the coordination begins with the clear division of roles. Just joint planning and structured communication across all regional mechanisms. Now, ICAO's AASPG, which is the Indian Ocean Aviation, Africa-Indian Ocean Aviation System Planning and Implementation Group, particularly the Safety Management and Oversight Subgroup, SMOSG, plays a central role by supporting states at different maturity levels through targeted projects, tailored assistance, and guidance aligned with ICAO SAPs. And, you know, we didn't get here easily. There's a time when the duplicative support was affecting states because the support was all over and it was not coordinated, and the states were expressing their frustration. Then ICAO stepped up and heard them, and then we came up with the mechanism for coordinating them. So we provide the backbone of regional coordination as ICAO, ISAF, and WACAF. And together, we have established an effective platform that brings all these RSOs together, as well as industry partners, during the annual AFI coordination meetings. And this platform has become best practice because it aligns programs and technical assistance across regional bodies, prevents duplication of activities, clarifies institutional responsibilities, and ensures harmonized support to all states looking at, and regardless of the maturity level, so each state has its needs, and then we look at it in that coordination platform and ensure that each state receives support in whichever area that they want and at whatever level that they are in. So this ICAO-led structure ensures that oversight efforts are coordinated, complementary, and scalable to the needs of states at different maturity levels, ultimately strengthening the regional and global collective safety and security oversight system. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. And Chris?
Sure, thank you. So I think we need to answer that question separately for the two RSOOs. I like to say if you've seen one RSOO, you've seen one RSOO. They all have, they're there to meet the needs of their states, right? And different states have different needs. So answering the question for the Caribbean first, for CASOS, I'm not sure I would exactly use the word maturity, but what we have is, we have 14 small island developing states in the NAC region, which is more than half of the states in the region. And in many ways, they share more in common with their counterparts in the Pacific small island developing states than they do with the larger countries of North America and South America. And in many cases, it's just a matter of the number of people, right? The inhabitants. We have states that have 60,000 inhabitants, and for a state that I live in Mexico right now, and it has 140 million, right? So it's just the scale is orders of magnitude different, and so smaller states often just don't have the human resources to address all of the challenges that they need, and I would say that is largely the case for the Caribbean. It's not a matter of level of development in most cases, or a matter of political will, but just the lack of human resources. We have 15,000 SARPs, we have 19 annexes in ICAO. It's a machine that doesn't stop, right? And as aviation becomes more complex and more innovative, as we move away from the aluminum tube with wings on it and towards commercial space launches and eVTOLs and UAS and all of these new entrants in the airspace, and we have faced new challenges like cybersecurity and conflicts. How does a single state, a single small state, address all of these challenges? And as ICAO responds to the needs of the states by establishing more plans and more standards and more recommended practices, the gap is growing wider, it's not growing smaller. And so the RSOO in some cases is really there to, and I would say this is the case in the Caribbean, to take on some of those functions. And we need to start talking about things like delegation. How does the state remain responsible? Because at the end of the day, the state signed the Chicago Convention. It's always going to be the state that's responsible. But how does that state discharge those convention responsibilities through an RSOO? So I would say, how can CASOS, to answer your question, Mohammed, how can CASOS help the states? In many cases, it's by pooling resources. Yeah. That's probably one of the biggest parts of the answer there. But in Central America, it's a little bit different. They don't have the same exact challenges. And there, I would say, in Central America, you have at least 2 operators that are multinational airlines that have multiple air operator certificates, right? So responding to the challenge of an operator that is trying to operate as, you know, to the general public under a particular brand, and yet those of us who are in aviation know it's actually 3 airlines or 5 airlines or 7 airlines. How does that operator, how do we as states and as ICAO respond to the evolution of the aviation industry, which is toward a more global type operation? And that is how the RSOO in Central America can help, is by establishing harmonized regulations and a system of mutual recognition of certifications and approvals amongst them. So two very different use cases, if you will, Mohammed.
Yeah. Thank you, thank you. Chris, you put like the $1 million question, how can ICAO set standards that can be adaptable to different levels of maturity as the states? And I think the council members are here and they are aware of this discussion that is happening sometimes in the council, how we can have smart regulations that can really address different maturity level at the states. And then I like the idea of having the regional office as a platform where coordination can happen in order to avoid duplication, which is a lot of efforts are happening in the region, especially in a region like Africa. There is a lot of stakeholders that are willing to give support to states, and these activities need to be harmonized. Otherwise, we will risk the duplication of resources. Now, going back to David, and I think you have a different complexity level in Europe, so, but you still can give like support. So what are the key elements of that support that you are giving to the various member states, taking into consideration also the complexity of the civil aviation system in Europe? It's another environment.
Certainly. Well, I mean, I remember when I was a council representative, people saying to me about the number of organizations we had in Europe and saying, is this not confusing? Does this not cause problems? And actually, my answer would be actually far from it. It actually promotes stronger collaboration across the whole of the European aviation network. And how does it do that? Through constant engagement and cooperation between each other to make sure that we are addressing the needs of all member states across the whole suite of annexes. So if particularly I'd like to highlight two organizations we engage with particularly closely. The first is the European Union, and particularly the European Union Aviation Safety Agency, EASA. We work hand in glove with EASA on the complementary areas of safety and air navigation, sharing expertise, sharing information that we pick up from our engagements with states to ensure that we are able to target the support at exactly where it is needed, where we can identify not just weaknesses, and this comes on to the second organization we collaborate closely with, which is, of course, the EURNAT regional office, and my good friend Nicholas was referring to this earlier. He mentioned that we're not just focusing on weaknesses, but we're focusing on needs. We're focusing on what is needed to ensure that we are operating optimally. And through working closely with the EURNAT regional office, with EASA, with our individual member states, we can identify the pinch points and the areas where there may be issues where not necessarily things are going wrong, but things could be improved slightly. Yeah. And all of this is about this leveling up aspect. Everything is towards leveling up the whole region so that we are operating at the best possible level all across. And it's not letting any area of the network fall behind. It's ensuring we can provide the support through the many organizations in Europe in the areas where it is needed to ensure that we're operating with peak efficiency for such a congested, from our perspective in Eurocontrol, such a hugely congested and complex airspace. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed, very, very interesting. Again, the existence of multiple organizations could add benefits rather than create some challenges if harmonized in a good sense. Maybe moving back to the DG of South Sudan, and definitely as a chair of a regional organization, you have so many initiatives and needs of the states. But how you would prioritize these initiatives, especially when mostly more of the states are suffering from lack of resources, and also regional organizations, they don't have enough resources to cover all the needs. So how you prioritize these needs in the region?
Correct. Thanks, Mohamed. I think one of the main challenges is just the revenue to run the agency, CASOA. And especially for the last year when I took over the role that I'm in, there has been improvement in terms of the state commitment of their paying their membership. But the question is, as David put it before here, is how these resources, the little resources we get, how we use them. And this is where the leadership of CASOA come in, to make sure that we use them wisely. We guide the state to use these resources wisely, to make sure that the resources are put into, especially the safety and security of our region, for training of the technical expertise. But in terms of the resources, we promote to be independent in terms of we're collecting our own revenue, we pay our own membership instead of relying on funding. So we, as a region, we're focusing on mainly the safety. But there are some countries that lead us into joining inspection and training, especially like countries like Uganda, Tanzania as well. They already had a joining inspection team, whereby if there is an issue in Tanzania, the Ugandan can actually send the inspectors there. And some of the countries like South Sudan have joined in to improve in the regional technical support and oversight capacity. So we do this without neglecting the transparency between our state. So we developed to have a clear communication between our member state and regional reporting as well between the leadership CASUO and the member state. So what we want to see in the next couple of years is to have that independent whereby we pay our member fees on time and not depending on, even though we need some grant for us to manage ourselves, but we're focusing on pay our member fees on time. And we let the member state see the need of the agency as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mohamed.
So you use prioritized needs of states as like calibration for how the organization works, and also you need to establish like financial sustainability of the organization to make sure it delivers results. Again, Madam Chair, Ms. Tembieva, how should member states be engaged and how can they overcome setbacks in the regional mechanisms?
Thank you for question. Engagement works best when member states recognize that regional cooperation is about mutual benefit. When one state strengthening their safety system, the whole network becomes safer. We are all in this together. In the region, we go beyond formal structures. We help each other and respond quickly when support is needed. And our cooperation covers both safety and security. We have established the Aviation Security Coordination Group of Central Asia and the Caucasus to bring together 7 states, including Kazakhstan, to coordinate security measures, share threat information, and develop joint approaches with ICAO. We also work through the expert group on aviation security under the Eurasian Economic Commission across EEC member states. But structures alone are not enough. Member states need to feel that regional mechanisms are genuinely their own instruments. That means involving them early in setting priorities and ensuring the regional agenda reflects national strategies. When states see their own needs in the work program, participation becomes natural rather than obligatory. Overcoming setbacks comes to the same principle. Keep the focus on practical value, stay flexible, and maintain trust between partners.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I want to congratulate you, Madam Chair, on the level of coordination that is done by Kazakhstan and Central African region. It's really felt across ICAO also as well. So I want to congratulate you on this. Now, I have a couple of very quick questions. I will pose the question to each and every panelist. It's like how to be a millionaire question, you know? And then I'll give you 4 answers, and you need to pick one, only one. So the first question says, when delegating tasks or functions to an RSO or a RIO, what is the hardest part in this delegation? 1, legal authority. 2, accountability. 3, sovereignty. 4, oversight. So I'll start with Madam Chair. What will be your first answer?
Thank you. I would say accountability. The main challenge is accountability.
Yes.
Even if certain tasks are carried out at a regional level, the state is still the one that will be held accountable, whether by ICAO, by government, or in case of an incident. So it has to be very clear who is doing what. Who is taking decisions, and how responsibility is shared. If that is not clear, hesitation sets in on both sides, and the system becomes less effective.
So you picked accountability, Dr. Aye.
I would say the legal system, especially from our regional perspective, we've been having a very slow in terms of the regulations. And when we became a union, we make sure that our regulation has to be harmonized altogether. And for the state, all these states do the amendment to match our regional need. It has been a bit hectic. So I can say the legal system for us.
Legal system, David?
Well, with a legal background, I am going to agree with my dear neighbour here. We are lucky in Europe. We have a very good legal system and framework of regulations, but it takes hard work to ensure it keeps current.
Indeed. Lucy? I think it's on.
I would agree with Dr. Oyel and David that the hardest part, in my point of view, is the legal authority. When, in the initial stages of the RSOs in our region, the challenge was the misunderstanding by the states that the RSO would infringe on their sovereignty. And states thought that the RSOs were going to, infringe on the regulating power of the CAAs, and the RSOs had to do a lot to sensitize the states that their job was simply support and guidance.
Okay, but now you touch it in two elements: legal challenges and also sovereignty. So okay. At least we have 3 votes for legal challenges. For you, Chris?
I thought I was going to be in the minority on this one, but definitely the legal framework, and I'm going to steal a chapter from Lucy's book and say that it does encompass these other areas like accountability and sovereignty as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Now the second question: what would make you trust the regional mechanism? What is the best element that make you really trust this regional mechanism? Is it shared KPIs, key performance indicators, or greater transparency, or independence in audits, or greater communication and reporting? So, Madam Chair, choose one. Very quick.
Great transparency.
Great transparency. Dr. Aye?
Communication and reporting.
Communication and reporting. David?
Once again, I agree with my neighbour, communication and reporting.
Yeah. Lucy?
I would say transparency.
Transparency.
What was the first one, Mohammed?
It was shared KPIs.
No, I'm not going to say that one. No. What I would say recognition by ICAO and the state of the authority of the RSO. I know that wasn't on your list, but that's the challenge that I hear.
Yeah, we can add it to the list.
You can add it to the list.
Thank you. Now I open the floor for participants who are attending. Any questions to our panelists regarding the regional mechanisms? Any volunteer from the floor? And the lights are on. I count 1. I count 2. I see no hands. Any first volunteer? So it seems that the panelist was, I see one now. The ANC member from Saudi Arabia, Adel, go ahead. Give him mic, please. Yes.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for the Royal Kingdom of Morocco for this hospitality and ICAO for organizing this event. My question with regard to the regional mechanism, with regard to how to help states to translate the ICAO SARPs to their national regulation from one step. And the other step had to build the regional plans for the GAMP and GASP and GASP as well. And all other plans might be needed in the regional level, as well as helping the state to translate that to the national level as well. This is a very important mechanism. I think we need to focus somehow on that. And I would like to hear from the panelists, how can we do this and ensure this can be applicable in the real life? Thank you.
Thank you. So any volunteer to answer, how can we make this applicable on the ground at the states level? Any who wants to take this question? Yeah.
I want to pass it to Lucy.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for the question. You know, I think for us in the Afri region, I think that will probably come a bit later in the future. Hope not in the too far future, because right now the RSOs are concentrating on just improving safety and security standards for the states. And because they're still very new and young, and they don't have a lot of resources, they may not at this moment go into giving guidance on all these other areas of standard making. Thank you.
Any other thoughts? Yes, Dr. A, go ahead.
Yeah, do you want me to add a few on Mohammed? You know, most of our challenges is the resources. So the more we introduce another system, require another leadership to go and ask the member state to put some money for any kind of system that we need to introduce. But in our regional perspective, we embrace this is where we're heading to. And this is the future of what we are seeing. Yeah. In the next few years, we might be able to implement it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions before we conclude? Yes. Thank you very much. I don't want to keep you from your lunch break. So, in fact, looking at the panelist intervention in the past 65 minutes, a number of issues has been highlighted. First of all, the governance is really important foundation of the RSOs. And then they have to have clear mandates and independent oversight. And then the trust among member states to this organization is really essential, as highlighted by the distinguished panelists. I see also that the sovereignty issue and the legal challenges are coming as one of the impediments of the functionality of these RSOs. And also, the Madam Chair also highlighted the need for this organization to be more flexible, more agile to address the needs. Also, David gave us some highlights on tailored assistance programs to states, especially when RSOs are covering fewer number of states. It's much, much easier. But with the maturity level in Europe, definitely you can have a more tailored support to state by state. Maturity differences in regions like NAC and Africa really varies, and this needs also to have like a one-to-one assistance rather than a regional one. I think also one of the points that has been highlighted is the role of ICAO regional offices in supporting this organization and harmonize the work that is happening at the regional level. I think it's necessary to have this platform across all ICAO regions to make sure that we are harmonizing all the activities that are happening in different regions and not to duplicate the efforts and waste resources. So the message is these regional organizations are now an essential and integral part of our oversight system globally, and we need to focus on enhancing them, providing them with the resources, and try to address the issues of financial sustainability at each regional level. So, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our distinguished panelists, and thank you very much for your attention. I would join Melinda in asking you to go to the exhibition. I really enjoyed yesterday being there. I met a lot of old friends, and I have a good coffee as well. So please take your time to go to the exhibition area after your lunch. Thank you very much.